up? GoodMicWork back at you. That is a wrap on WrestleMania 32 weekend. The post-WrestleMania Monday Night Raw is in the books. I'm up here to talk about that and review the show, and also give some closing thoughts on the entire WrestleMania experience and show and reaction and opinions and things like that. First of all, let me just start off by saying that I thought it was a great week. I mean, WrestleMania, despite what happened to the show and despite your opinion on it, the entire experience of WrestleMania for me has become very fun. I enjoyed kind of shutting myself in for 48 hours and experiencing everything WrestleMania was about, interacting with all of you, getting up 4 or 5 videos in a matter of days, and just having a lot of fun with what essentially is wrestling fans' Christmas. And when I go back and look at the show, I felt like I was very fair in my results and reaction video. I did my fair share of criticizing the show, but I also acknowledged that all the talent worked very hard. The quality of the matches were very good. I went back and watched that ladder match again last night. Oh my God, I mean, that was one of the best ladder matches I've ever seen. I mean, all of those great spots that they did, nothing was even botched. When you get a half a dozen guys in one match, it can really easily take the clusterfuck direction, and those guys really held it together. That was a great ladder match. And that pretty much held true with every match. I mean, regardless of who won or lost, every match was very solid. Even the main event was very good. The problem was we got the outcome that we really didn't want, and we didn't get the outcome in a lot of matches that we wanted. At the end of the day, for me, I truly do not give a rat's ass who wins and who loses. I was more concerned with the storyline progression and some of the underwhelming things that happened at WrestleMania that I felt didn't have any future as far as a storyline goes. I was disappointed that Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose didn't do more. To me, I thought that was such an opportunity for Dean Ambrose to really get on the map. Not even the fact that he lost. He could have even still lost, and I would have been okay with it if maybe he just took Brock to a little bit further of a limit. And considering the fact the match was no holds barred, I thought Dean could get creative. I mean, remember when Macho Man tied up Crush at WrestleMania 10 and hung him from the ceiling? I was expecting Dean to do something like that, where he's able to actually beat Brock Lesnar somehow. Brock can maintain his credibility as a tough guy, and now Dean Ambrose is a major player on their roster. I really thought that was their chance. So Dean losing kind of sucked. I would have just been more okay with it, I guess, if he would have, I don't know, bloodied up Brock Lesnar or something like that. I mean, I wanted Dean to get nuts. I mentioned on Twitter that I wanted him to duct tape Brock's fucking head to the ring post and start shredding him with that barbed wire baseball bat. I wanted to see blood, I wanted to see guts, I wanted to see eyeballs hanging out. Shout out to Vader. I felt that Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker was a little bit strange, considering that Shane wound up losing in the end, and you kind of wondered what was the point of the whole thing, and maybe the point of the whole thing was just to give The Undertaker a significant match to participate in at WrestleMania, especially if it turns out to be his final WrestleMania. It damn sure will be a memorable one. Shane made sure of that. That spot still blows my mind. What a long drop that was for him to perform. A guy at his age even. It's not like he's 22 doing this shit. He's a middle-aged man, and that was insanity. Kudos to Shane for even attempting something like that. He didn't need to put his body on the line like that to entertain all of us, but he did anyway. The boss's son certainly never had anything handed to him. This guy is willing to work for it, and I respect the hell out of Shane McMahon for taking that bump. So really, my overall opinion on WrestleMania was that, yes, I was disappointed a little bit with the show. I expected more. I wanted more. I think WWE is more caught up in the whole production of WrestleMania. To them, it's all about the spectacle. It's all about the event. It's all about the huge mega production that WrestleMania has become. And it almost seems like the matches and the storylines are now secondary. People are going to flock to this WrestleMania no matter what. When you look at this WrestleMania on paper, it was not a very strong card, but they still drew 101,000 fans. So fans are clearly there to see the WWE, not the individual matches. That's the way it's been for the last, 15, maybe even 20 years now. So the best we can hope for is that we get a good show, and I think in a lot of ways we did. I just think if the WWE gave me or any of you the opportunity to book this WrestleMania, we may have done it just a little bit different. So that, I think, is a very, very fair assessment and opinion of WrestleMania 32. I expressed pretty much those same thoughts, I think, in my reaction video. I got a few more dislikes than normal. I never care about likes and dislikes at all. I generally only average about 2 to 10 dislikes per video. This one has about, 75 or 80 on it. I don't know what I said that would be considered unfair. The views are off the hook on that video, too. I think I got like 70,000 in the first 10 hours. Jesus, man. WWE is going to do what they're going to do. We've known this for a long time. It's not like we're just discovering this now. Okay, I'm going to be done with WWE for a while. Everybody's been saying that ever since John Cena's been winning titles, for the past 6-7 years. We've grown accustomed to the WWE disappointing us. I was hoping they would come through a little bit better this year at WrestleMania because 30 and 31 were great. I don't feel like 32 lived up. I mean, it really didn't. But still, I'm a wrestling fan, and at the end of the day, WrestleMania time and WrestleMania season is fun, and I can't wait for it to come around again next year. I'll tell you, man, I'm really tempted to hop on a plane and head to Orlando next year. It looked like a lot of fun. All the fan pictures that were coming to me from Twitter and all of you that listen to me that attended WrestleMania, I was getting a lot of access updates and photos and shit like that. It looks like a lot of fun. I haven't been to a WrestleMania since WrestleMania 15, so I've missed out on this great experience of WrestleMania week. And maybe, just maybe, I can go next year. It would be nice to maybe meet and interact with some of you. I know some other fellow YouTubers, some bigger ones out there, attended some wrestling conventions and stuff like that. I might be interested in being a part of that in the future. Problem is, next year I have a Hawaiian vacation booked a week before WrestleMania, so that's the only thing. It might be tough for me to go to Hawaii and then all the way to Orlando the following week. But one of these years for sure, I think GoodMicWork's going to have to make the trip to WrestleMania. Let's get into Monday Night Raw now. I had high hopes for this show. I was really hoping WWE would bounce back, and anything about WrestleMania 32 that may have disappointed us, maybe we would get a little bit of redemption tonight on Monday Night Raw. And we did. I thought tonight's Raw was good. It was really good. We knew the crowd was going to be nuts, and they were. They were that typical post-WrestleMania Monday Night Raw crowd. They were a lot of fun and very entertaining. The show opens up with Vince McMahon. We never saw him last night. He comes out on the stage and starts cutting a promo about WrestleMania, about the attendance record, about the match with Shane McMahon and The Undertaker, and then Shane interrupts him and hobbles out to the stage. And he comes out to basically congratulate his father on winning the battle between the two, and he came out to say goodbye to all of the fans and to thank them for all of their support. And then Vince kind of playing off how crazy the crowd is. He's like, you know what? This is always a crazy night every single year. You fans are completely bonkers and you confuse the hell out of me. So you know what? Fuck it. Why not? I'll let Shane run Monday Night Raw for tonight only. The crowd pops and Vince McMahon leaves. So after all of that, after that match with The Undertaker in the Hell in the Cell, Shane almost killing himself for control of Monday Night Raw, the very next night, Vince is like, what the fuck, take over, who cares? What the shit is that? I was a little bit confused, but I thought it was awesome that Shane McMahon, technically kayfabe, is going to be running Monday Night Raw. So that right there told me you were going to get some fan-friendly decisions. The first matchup was a match for the Tag Team Championships, the New Day defending against the League of Nations, Wade Barrett and Sheamus. Now, New Day retained by hitting and pinning Wade Barrett with their finisher, and after the match, you could kind of smell it coming. Sheamus gets on the mic, and Barrett has been rumored to be leaving the WWE. He's been jobbing a lot, of course, and Sheamus gets on the mic and says, "You're only as good as your weakest link." Rusev and Del Rio pick up Barrett and hold him, and Sheamus nails him with the Brogue Kick, kicking him out of the group and possibly the WWE. And then in a really strange turn of events, the Wyatts' music hit, and they come out to the ring. Why the hell are the Wyatts attacking and antagonizing the League of Nations? They get in there and attack them and beat the hell out of them, and then Bray nails Sheamus with Sister Abigail. And the Wyatts got a huge pop from the crowd. I don't know what the point of that was. I don't know if this means the Wyatts are babyfaces now. I was glad to see them get back on track after last night, after their interaction with The Rock and John Cena. A lot of fans were pissed off about that too. You know, I can understand that. The fans, of course, love Bray Wyatt and they hate John Cena and they don't want to see the Wyatts, quote-unquote, get buried. But I don't necessarily think they got buried. They were in a WrestleMania segment with The fucking Rock and John Cena. Eric Rowan, technically in the record books, faced The Rock at WrestleMania. I don't care if your match is 6 seconds, 4 seconds, 1 second, whatever. That's an honor. And I don't even know if I mentioned last night, but The Rock gave props to Bray Wyatt. I mean, that's pretty awesome, too. I mean, The Rock and all of his funniness and all of his goofiness, you knew he was going to make fun of the Wyatts and have some pretty hilarious insults for those guys. But at the same time, for Rock to kind of say it to him straight and say, I think you're a hell of a talent, you have all the tools, you can be huge in this business. I mean, that's a pretty big compliment. And that's a pretty big endorsement from arguably the most successful professional wrestler this business has ever seen. So any decline in the Wyatt's position on the roster has been going on for a lot longer than this. I didn't have any problem at all with the Rock and John Cena segment, but I can definitely see how some fans did. The Wyatts were back on Raw, stronger than ever. They beat the holy hell out of the League of Nations, and the fans cheered them. So I don't know what this means. I don't know if the Wyatts are going to start attacking everybody or if they just turn babyface. It is possible. I mean, a babyface Wyatt group, why not? And after that, we had our first debut of the night. We knew we were going to have somebody coming up from the NXT roster or possibly a return. We had a little bit of both. First guy up was Apollo Crews. He's been moved up to the main roster now, and he was going to be taking on Tyler Breeze, pretty much a squash. I've seen Apollo Crews a couple of times in NXT, and watching him tonight on Raw, he's an amazing athlete. I've always liked what I've seen out of him. Some people were surprised that he's up on the main roster before some other people in NXT, but there's nothing we can do about that. All we can do is root for the kid. Roman Reigns came out next, new WWE champion, comes down to the ring and cuts a pretty feisty promo. Says that he's not a good guy, he's not a bad guy, he is the guy. I like that. Says he was finally able to overcome the big obstacle of the Authority and he's not scared of anybody, and if there's anybody back there that wants to try to take this title from him, feel free to come out and challenge him. That's when we had Chris Jericho show up, and then we had AJ Styles show up, and then we had Kevin Owens show up, and then we had Sami Zayn show up. So here's a whole bunch of guys, some new opponents for Roman Reigns. Owens and Zayn start brawling with each other. They wind up making it a four-way match in the main event for the #1 contender spot at the next pay-per-view. I believe it's going to be Payback or Extreme Rules. I think it's Payback. So I guess the winner of this match will face Roman Reigns for the WWE title, and it's a very interesting four guys. I don't think too many people wanted to see Jericho, but as far as the other three go, we were fine with any outcome. So we'll talk about that match here in a little bit when we get to the main event. Up next, we had another NXT call-up. Of course, we saw this guy the night before at WrestleMania. He won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Baron Corbin was going to be taking on Dolph Ziggler. And I like the match because they didn't do the obvious thing, which is what we thought. When you heard Dolph Ziggler's music hit, you're thinking to yourself, oh great, Ziggler's just going to come out there and make Baron Corbin look awesome, and he's going to take the loss. But they did a double countout. They wind up brawling all out into the audience, and then Baron Corbin gets pissed off and assaults Dolph Ziggler some more. Just basically asserting himself as a don't fuck with me type guy. He's very brash, he's got an attitude, he's tough, he's physical, and he's fearless, and I like him. So I can only hope for good things for Baron Corbin, and I hope he doesn't turn out to be a fifth member of the Social Outcasts one day. Pretty good finisher, too. He hit that End of Days thing on Ziggler on the outside, on the floor there. That looked pretty sick. Good luck to you, big fella. We had another title match. Intercontinental title was on the line. New champion Zack Ryder, who just won the title last night in that great ladder match at WrestleMania, is defending against The Miz. Zack Ryder's father is in the front row. There was the tearful celebration with the two of them last night after Zack's victory. And during the match, The Miz goes out there to taunt him and winds up slapping Zack's dad. He gets pissed and shoves The Miz down. Zack's dad looks like a pretty jacked guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he could take The Miz in a legit fight. That prompts Maurice, who I guess is also at ringside. She jumps over the barricade and she comes down to confront Zack Ryder's dad. That causes a distraction, and The Miz is able to roll up Zack Ryder and win the Intercontinental title. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm just kidding. The Miz is not that bad. He is a great heel. I don't know what the hell he was wearing, what kind of silly-ass outfit you would call that thing. If his character is supposed to be a douchebag, then gosh darn it, The Miz went out there and was the best douchebag he could be. So congrats to The Miz, I guess. After that, we had a promo for another NXT call-up that will be taking place on SmackDown. This time it's the Vaudevillains tag team. They're going to be making their debut on the main roster on SmackDown in a couple of days. So some interesting choices, to say the least, for this recent batch of call-ups. Next up, we had another Women's Championship title presentation. Lita is out there again with the new Women's Championship belt that they unveiled last night at WrestleMania. Tonight on Raw, they're going to officially present it to Charlotte, even though she was already the champion and she won the belt last night. They still have to go through all this, and is it just me, or has Charlotte been in an awful lot of these situations? I don't know how many times she's gone out there and had to give some emotional speech. This is like the fourth time we've seen this. So she's out there, and in great heel fashion, she starts going on and being very cocky and being very arrogant and being very insulting. The divas are standing there. Some of the reactions were priceless. Did you see Paige just chilling on the fucking rope? It was hilarious. Finally, they all just start walking out of the ring. Natty is the one that actually confronts Charlotte, and she's really pissed. It looks like they might be starting a feud between these ladies. They've had some matches in NXT, some classic matches, so if they're going to work for the Women's Championship next, I'm totally fine with that. Apparently, we're also getting a new tag team debuting soon. The Colognes are being repackaged again. This time, and they're called, I think, Greetings from Puerto Rico or something like that. It's basically the exact same vignettes that Carlito did 10 years ago before he came into the WWE. And there's been Carlito rumors floating around for the last year or so. So maybe we could see a Carlito return to the company. Maybe he could be a manager, or maybe they could be another three-man team. Now that Wade Barrett might be out of the picture, you got the League of Nations as a three-man team. You got the Wyatts as a three-man team. You have the New Day, and maybe you could now have the Colognes. That would be fun. I don't know where this leaves poor little El Torito. I have no idea. Maybe they put him on a little canoe and sent him off the shore in Puerto Rico back to the U.S. Who knows? We had the Usos versus the Dudley Boys again, WrestleMania rematch, this time a tables match. The Dudleys won. This time there was a ring bell botch. I think they only put one Uso through the table, and then they rang the bell. It's supposed to be both of them. Bubba got really pissed and threw the other Uso through the other table, and he's like, now you can ring the bell, you dumbass. That was great. My advice to anybody involved in wrestling, don't be botching with Bubba around. I think we go to a commercial break or some sort of WWE-related commercial or something like that. We come back, and the Dudley Boys are still out there giving shit to the fans. So immediately, people on Twitter start saying to themselves, uh-oh, here it comes. We've been expecting it, we've been expecting it, we've been expecting it. Fans have been calling for it for months. The debut of Enzo and Cass finally on the WWE main roster on Raw, and a pretty damn successful debut at that. I joke a little bit on Twitter that I just don't fucking get these guys, and I don't. I don't know what the hell. I don't even know how to describe someone like Enzo. That spazzy little shit, he cracks me up. I mean, he's incredibly entertaining as hell, and the crowd just sings along with them with the whole ordeal that they do. Big Cass is very impressive. He's 7 feet tall. Looks great, and I'm sure we'll get opportunities out the ass. This is a very, very overact with the audience. They love it. One can only hope that the WWE does not fuck this up. But I gotta hand it to Enzo and Cass, especially Enzo. I mean, he was flawless on that mic. Didn't look nervous at all. Monday Night Raw seems to fit this guy like a glove. And I'm hoping for the success of these two guys as well. We cut backstage next to a surprising segment. We had an injury angle. Sami Zayn is doing an interview and he's attacked by Kevin Owens and he's put through a table, essentially knocking him out of the four-way #1 contender match. So that had the fans' brains moving a million miles an hour. Holy shit, who's it going to be? But more importantly, why was this angle run? Is Sami Zayn legitimately hurt? Some people have told me that he was. I really, really, really hope not. And if he is hurt, I hope it's something minor that he can come back from quickly. He's already missed too much time. And I'm really hoping that if they ran that angle to get him off TV for a while, that it's not too serious. So I started speculating with a lot of fans on Twitter, who's it going to be? And a lot of people were thinking John Cena, but I was like, no way. John Cena, I'm not even sure is 100% healthy. I think maybe he was just healthy enough to do that segment with The Rock last night, and he might be off TV for maybe a little bit while longer until he comes back. And then on top of that, Shane McMahon is technically running Raw tonight. So Shane wouldn't do the fans like that, especially a post-WrestleMania Monday Night Raw audience. He's not going to give them John Cena. He knows better than that. So you knew whoever the WWE picked had to be somebody that Shane would pick, right? To please the fans. And Cesaro has been rumored to be coming back at any time. I was thinking Cesaro. I was thinking Brock. I mean, he did beat the hell out of Dean Ambrose. Even The Undertaker's name was thrown out there. Randy Orton could be back at any time. Seth Rollins as well, but I don't think he's healthy enough yet. No need to rush knee surgery like that. That's a pretty big injury, and I don't expect to see him until the summer. So finally, after they announced the first 3 guys, the sirens hit, and it does turn out to be Cesaro. He comes out there in a suit, and reminiscent of what The Rock did last night, he just tears the fucking thing off Chippendale style, just wearing his little tighty-whities and his wrestling boots, and he's ready to rock and roll. The match is pretty damn good, too. I mean, we were thinking it was great no matter who won this thing, as long as it wasn't Jericho. Nobody really wanted to see Jericho win it. I was kind of thinking it would be Kevin Owens, because I thought Roman Reigns would probably need to start beating some people on pay-per-views. I expect Roman Reigns to have some sort of a lengthy title run here. I mean, the title has been flopped back and forth a lot since Survivor Series, or since Seth had to cough it up. So it seems like whoever the champion is now, they might just want to stay that course for a little while. They've invested all this in Roman Reigns, whether the fans like it or not. WWE is going to do it, and I can kind of conceivably see him holding this thing until SummerSlam. So I'm thinking he's going to get some heels to beat first, and Kevin Owens would be a good guy to throw in and thrust into the main event spotlight. Even if he loses, no big deal. He's working with the world champ in the main event of a pay-per-view. Nothing to complain about. Roman can beat him and then maybe beat him again in Extreme Rules, and then Roman can beat someone else, and then he can set up his big SummerSlam opponent, whoever that turns out to be. But in a delightful surprise, the guy that wins is AJ Styles. Hits Chris Jericho with the Styles Clash and pins him and becomes the number one contender. It's going to be AJ versus Roman Reigns. That's pretty fucking amazing. So I guess that's WWE's way of trying to make up for the fact that some fans were pissed off with last night's WrestleMania, so they tried to give them an internet-friendly guy as the next number one contender. But, you know, right now, just hours after Raw goes off the air and looking forward to the next pay-per-view, I don't see Styles winning the title. I mean, unless this Shane McMahon storyline continues and he starts to get really crazy, I think WWE's capable of anything. But putting the belt on AJ, that would be a pretty big deal. I mean, for the WWE to do something like that, this guy just spent the last 15 years in TNA. And to put the belt on him 2 months after he gets there, holy shit. So I personally have a feeling that his match with Roman Reigns will resemble the match that Roman Reigns had with Daniel Bryan at Fastlane last year. I think it's going to be a really good match. I think AJ is a good opponent for Roman Reigns because you know the match can be good. And if the fans aren't accepting Roman Reigns, at least if he's having good matches, he can sleep easy at night knowing that. Because the WWE is kind of booking him like ass. He's not that great on the mic, so if his match quality is good, the fans essentially can fuck themselves in Roman Reigns' eyes. So putting AJ in there with him, I think, can give us a very entertaining match. I mean, AJ is so incredibly athletic, and the things he's going to be able to do and the bumps he's going to be able to take for Roman Reigns should be a lot of fun. I suppose maybe, just maybe, he could pull off the upset and win the WWE title. I think it's highly unlikely. I say Roman Reigns beats him. Unless, of course, they are planning a big swerve at Payback. This, I think, is something they should have done at WrestleMania, but if they put AJ as the number one contender and let's say, the Bullet Club guys interfere, maybe Shane McMahon has something to do with that too, and they wind up helping AJ Styles win the WWE title. That would be a pretty huge moment, to say the least. I'm sure the internet would literally explode if that happened. But unfortunately, doing something like that would be a lot of fun, and WWE sometimes seems like they don't like fun. So we'll see how the build goes between the two. It's pretty much a babyface match unless Reigns decides to get vicious, which I think he might. WWE seems, in this case, that they're purposely putting Roman Reigns in a position where he's going to be booed louder than normal because he's already booed as it is. Now he's going to be taking on this guy that's so beloved with all the type of fans that like to boo Roman Reigns. I mean, he's going to get booed 10 times harder in his match with AJ at Payback. So you got to wonder if WWE is just fucking stupid or if they know what they're doing and they got a plan for all of this. Hopefully this will be a good feud. Hopefully we'll come out on the other end of it appreciating it. And if and when Roman Reigns does wind up winning, just don't call it a burial or anything. Don't be ridiculous. See what they can do out there. Give him a chance. If AJ winds up taking Roman Reigns to the absolute limit and just barely loses the WWE title, that's not a burial. If anything, that's a vote of confidence and a sign of appreciation and trust they have in AJ Styles. An outsider that's just coming in that the WWE barely knows. To put him in those positions, that's a pretty giant endorsement from the WWE to even do that. So anyway, that is it for me. I'll tell you what, it's been a fun last few days. If you don't mind, I'm going to take a week-long nap. I will be up here next week after Monday Night Raw. My 6-year anniversary is coming up. I'm planning just a little tiny side video that you'll get on that day. But other than that, that will be the next time you hear from me will be a week from now. I'm going to get some rest. WrestleMania knocked me dead. Say what you want about the show. I still had fun. I will talk to you guys in about a week. Until then, peace.